Americans are known for loving and following sports. Baseball, basketball, football, and hockey rule television and mainstream media. However, there's something about football on the weekends that brings people together to celebrate and enjoy the atmosphere of the games. Now, if you start watching the games week after week, it's easy to find yourself following polls and standings to see which teams are doing well and which are going to be bowl eligible. And of course, you want to find out about the most important game, the national championship game. Now, the teams are determined by a complex system called the Bowl Championship Series, which is the BCS. It relies on a computer selections and polls. The system results from negotiations from 6 major conferences, including the Pac-10, the Big Ten, the Big 12, the Big East, the ACC, and the SEC, with 5 major bowl games being played at the end of the season. Now, the game matches up the #1 ranked team versus #2 ranked team, and the winner goes home with the trophy. The BCS is determined by a combination of the Harris College football poll, the coaches poll, and the computer ranking system. These polls are combined and with a separate computer average rank the top 25 teams. My main claim is that the current BCS system is insufficient in determining college football's national championship winner. I will support these claims with 3 secondary claims. 1, the system leaves opportunity for teams to finish undefeated and not play for the title. 2, the current system gives much credibility to preseason ranking. And finally, the system neglects successful programs outside of these 6 major conferences. My first major claim, the system leaves opportunity for teams to finish undefeated and not play for the title. The championship game is determined with teams who finish with the best record among the 6 conferences. Now, since each team plays 12 or 13 games, 8 or 9 of those within their own conference, the #1 team from each conference has a significant chance of having 1 loss, 2 loss, or being undefeated. In the journal The American Statistician, there are instances to show where multiple teams have ended the season with the same winning records. 2003 and 2004, the controversy surrounding the national championship game, where both human polls had USC ranked #1 and LSU was #2. In the computer polls, however, Oklahoma was #1 and LSU was #2. That championship game was played out and LSU beat Oklahoma. Meanwhile, USC continued to win its Rose Bowl game against Michigan. The final human polls still insisted that USC was #1, however, the computer had LSU as #1. This resulted in a split of the national title, however, LSU being able to take the trophy home. The very next year, there was another controversy surrounding the top 3 teams, USC, Oklahoma, and Auburn, all with undefeated records. However, USC and Oklahoma, ranked #2, got to play in the game. The situation again occurred in 2008 and 2009, where Oklahoma, Florida, Texas, the top 3 teams, each had 1 loss. That year, Florida won and beat Oklahoma, while Texas left out of the game. The lack of a playoff in college football results in 1 team getting left out, and in a tournament, each of the successful teams would have a shot at reaching the title game with little doubt of who the best team is. The game of football is played on the field, it should be decided on the field. My second claim is that the current system gives much credibility on preseason rankings. Now, preseason rankings are released prior to the start of every college football season, and these rankings are by coaches and the Associated Press members. They rank the top 25 teams based on the previous season, the loss of players, and the incoming players that were there that year. Starting the season ranked high can be a blessing for teams because they're more likely to remain or enter in the BCS race, while teams outside of the top 25 have a harder time climbing the polls. These preseason rankings are giving an obstacle to teams not ranked before the season has actually even started. How do these voters know about the teams they're voting for before they've even seen them play a game? My final subtopic or subclaim is that the system neglects successful programs outside of the major conferences. Now, currently, there are 6 major conferences that have agreements with the BCS, allowing the winner of each conference the opportunity to play in the BCS bowl games each year. The Rose Bowl gets the Pac-10 and Big Ten, the Fiesta Bowl gets the Big 12 champ, the Sugar Bowl gets the SEC champ, and the Orange Bowl gets the ACC champ. Now, this leaves 2 to 3 teams available to be an at-large bid for the remaining games. The problem with this is that there are other conferences with successful teams that come out of them. Most notably, these are the Mountain West, the Western Athletic, the Mid-American, and Conference USA. According to the college football poll, since 1998, these conferences have produced 10 undefeated teams and 6 1- or 2-loss seasons. Recently, this has been a popular topic because of the success of Boise State out of the WAC and Utah out of the Mountain West. Utah began its jump to the national picture in 2004 after finishing undefeated, ranked number 6. However, they were neglected from the title game, although finishing with another identical record. They were invited to play in the Fiesta Bowl and beat Pittsburgh of the Big East. In 2008, another undefeated Utah from the Mountain West, ranked number 6 in the country, was left out of the national championship game and beat Alabama of the SEC in their bowl, the Sugar Bowl. Now, Boise State has done similar things in recent years, going undefeated in 06, 08, and 09. They ended 06 with a win over Oklahoma in the Big 12 in the Fiesta Bowl, and ended 09 with another Fiesta Bowl win against TCU. In 2008, however, they were not selected for any automatic bid, despite being undefeated and despite being ranked number 9 in the country, because of a certain rule against conferences for automatic qualifiers. According to the college football poll, this rule states that no more than one such team from the smaller conferences shall earn an automatic berth, BCS berth, in any year. This rule is limiting the number of teams, an extreme disadvantage for teams in these conferences. And the common theme here is that these smaller conferences have shown that they can beat the big schools. However, they're not being recognized properly for their efforts. No team from the smaller conferences has ever reached a title game, and this year's hope again relies on Boise State. I hope these claims make you agree with me that the current BCS system has flaws from keeping it determining a true national champion.
All right, well, you state the proposition clearly. Everything's well organized. You've got a lot of examples that you can point to, a couple of statistical issues going on here. At the basis of this argument is a value claim. You try and keep it out as much as possible, but there's really a point about what constitutes just or fair distribution of access to those spots. Or, for instance, there is a potential policy claim about the need for a playoff system. So, I think that you did an okay job trying to adapt it to the claim of fact and finding the right kinds of things to talk about here, and that was fine. All right, thank you for your patience this evening, folks. We'll see.